I've had metaphorical stars show up in different forms to guide me at different times in my life. But one particularly powerful time, it came in the shape of a bright, glowing light of a Walmart sign. Now, I don't really shop at Walmart, but I was in Texas at the time, and when in Texas, my husband Adam and I were visiting some very dear friends of ours for their daughter's first birthday. The four of us had grown very close during our time together in a house church in Boston. And then after Jenny and Taylor had a baby, they'd moved back to Texas, where they were from. I missed them, and I missed their infant daughter terribly. So on a hot Texas September afternoon, I found myself in the passenger seat of Jenny's old silver sedan, going with her to Walmart to buy party supplies. As we pulled into the parking lot, I had this deep knowing. It was less a conscious thought and more a feeling of being punched in the gut, that this was where I wanted to be, where I needed to be. Not at Walmart, but there in Texas with Jenny and her family. Today, we hear from Matthew's gospel about magi, wise ones from the east who see a special star, a sign in the heavens. They were astrologers, probably Zoroastrians, who believed that miraculous births of divine prophets would be declared and could be known by careful attention to the night sky. But why did they come? They weren't Jews. They had no obligation to go pay respects to this newborn king. We don't get any of their backstory, so we can only imagine that there must have been something burning even brighter in their hearts than the star in the sky. Some hope, some longing, some trust that compelled them to seek out the source of this sign, even when they didn't fully comprehend its meaning or really know where they were going. Because this star is not Siri. Popular imagination has us see the star as a flashing beacon, or at least a map highlighter. Something that guided them every step of the way, resolutely fixed in the sky for them to follow. It sure would be easier that way, wouldn't it? Wouldn't we all love crystal clear divine guidance? An epiphany so blazingly obvious that all of our fears and doubts crumble to dust. But the truth is, the Magi get a glimmer, a glimpse, a star sparkling where it hadn't before. How long had they awaited this sign, I wonder? How long had they stayed up late into the night, searching the heavens for hope? I imagine that they had studied and debated and charted carefully, and that all the while they were preparing for this day. They knew just what they'd take. They'd need food and plenty of water for the desert journey. And they'd bring gifts, gold, frankincense, myrrh. When the star arises, I imagine little yelps of anticipatory joy. Finally, this is it. Here we go. somehow they understand the star's meaning to point to a new Jewish king, but they don't actually know where to find him. So they journey to Jerusalem. They seek wonder and truth, and they find neither in the place they expect it. King Herod does not celebrate with them, but is terrified for his own position of power. He gathers information to try and eliminate the threat to his throne. While Herod is calling together the chief priests and the religious scholars, and the Magi are apparently waiting for his answer, I wonder if they begin to second-guess themselves, begin to think that maybe they'd gotten it all wrong. Maybe there was no newborn king here. Maybe their calculations had been off. Maybe they'd misinterpreted the sign. After the birthday party in Texas, Adam and I returned home to Boston. Over the following months, the feeling wasn't always so clear. Practical questions crowded their way into our decision-making. We wondered if it was completely crazy to move across the country for chosen family with no jobs and no plan. But this glimmer of longing, this hope of how our lives might be, kept pulling us forward. So we did it. We lived with our friends and then across the street from them and had a blast for a few years. We shared meals often, helped raise children, prayed and dreamed together. Not everything about it was easy, but it was a time in my life of exceedingly great joy. Then, ultimately, Adam and I followed my call to priesthood and to California, and Taylor and Jenny followed calls to teaching and to Arkansas. But making that move changed me. It taught me that sometimes revelation comes through my own gut reaction. And more, it taught me that it is worth it to pursue hope, to journey with trust on the lifelong path of seeing what God is up to. The Magi receive word from Herod that they should go to Bethlehem. And it is then, as they set out once again, that the star that they had seen at its rising goes out ahead of them. Can you imagine the relief? There it is. That's what we were trying to follow. And now the star guides them right to the home where Jesus is. When they see that their hope has been met, that their long, arduous journey had meaning, that they were to meet this divine one, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. They entered the house and knelt their bodies down in awe and worship and gratitude. They offered themselves fully before then offering their gifts. And then they go back home. We don't know how much time they spend with Mary and Joseph and Jesus, or what they might have talked about. But after all the searching and journeying, braving the dangers of the desert and the dangers of Herod's wrath, after finally meeting this long-awaited one, they leave. It can be tempting, I think, to either grasp tightly to these types of encounters, these moments of revelation and longing fulfilled, trying to hold them within our control, or to not follow the star in the first place, knowing that the joy will surely be fleeting. But the Magi show us that it is worth risking everything to seek out where goodness and truth and hope are breaking into the world, to follow glimmers in the night sky even when we don't exactly know the way forward. This exuberant joy is the ground of worship, even in and with the dangers and fears of our lives. As we follow the burning of our hearts together, we will encounter the living God.